Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Final Third podcast. And today, this is our first episode. First and foremost, we want to introduce ourselves. My name's Callus, and
I'm Ali, the West Ham fan.
My name's Hassan, and I support United, just like Carlos does.
yeah, I forgot to say that. So I'm a United fan as well as Hassan. And this podcast is just a thing where we've created to do general Premier League news. We're going to focus it mostly on the clubs we just because it's kind of easier to talk to us. Maybe in the future we can spread out more, but we will bring in general news as well. But currently, there is a lot of news about Manchester United and some news about West Ham and general Premier League news. But we will start by previewing the games that are coming up. This is, by the way, recorded prior to the West Ham Everton game and the Man United Bournemouth game, which are happening actually later today. We're going to be talking about the Benjamin Sesko deal and how we think that's going to end up. Talk about the price and what type of terms we think could happen. We'll be talking about how West Ham can sort of keep their players because they've shown loyalty to players such as Paqueta and Todibo, and how they've agreed a deal for Callum Wilson. And then we're going to end the video with just general transfer news in terms of the striker market, how Granit Xhaka can be a massive difference for Sunderland, and how we think Marcus Rashford's going to do at Barcelona. And right at the end of the video, we're going to do a little quiz where you guys can get involved interactively by Ali giving 5 different facts about a Premier League footballer, and you guys have to guess who it is for the next video. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, before we preview any of the games, we had a game, Man United versus West Ham. And I was just wondering what you guys... I guess we should start with Ali. What do you think?
Yeah, so there was definitely some improvements from last season that I could see in that game. Like in terms of like passage of plays, playing out the back. Of course, it was a bit of a shaky first 10 minutes. Areola making an absolute, massive error, which I've never seen him do. And obviously, he cost us for the first goal, cost us for the second goal. There were clearly some things that, worried me in terms of like the midfield in the first half. Were clearly way too slow. Struggled to, play it, take the ball from the defense to the attack. It did improve in the second half when we brought on youngsters such as Firan, who looks very exciting, and same with Potts. But yeah, no, second half there was, we got the goal by playing from the back. Todibo done well in that goal in the build up, and some exciting patterns of play. Again, it's just an improvement on last season, I'd say.
Perfect, yeah. I mean, I agree. I thought West Ham did very well in that game. I thought it was a very close game in terms of West Ham had more possession, but I thought maybe United were a bit more dangerous. But Hassan, what did you think of Man United's performance?
I think first half performance was actually pretty decent. Obviously, the early penalty was obviously a very big help to the game. Aiden Heather winning the penalty, just making sure the ball gets into the box and creating some danger for the goalie. Of course, it's a bit of a silly mistake, but obviously there was a lead up to the goal. Creating those chances and actually launching the balls in the box is very important. There was a lot of promise on the left-hand side, especially with Dorgu running on the wing. Very physical, very quick left wing back. Started to see promising signs of him. Also very young too, so he still has got a long way to go before he can start showing even more signs of progress and eventually become a very good left wing back for us. Bruno as well. Bruno had an amazing game. Obviously scored a penalty, but also a very good finish, top left corner. Nothing the goalkeeper could do about that. I'd say overall it was a very good team performance, but obviously after the subs were made, the team kind of fell off a little bit. But that's mainly to do with the cohesion of the team. The players are not used to playing with these new players as well, like Cunha and obviously Diego Leon as well. So the team just needs to implement the ideas a bit better. And obviously, the more they play, the more they do training, this will eventually lead to the team playing better. And hopefully in the coming games, we'll see an improved United side. And just hope the best, and hopefully Amrim can bring the best out of these players.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with what you're saying. Like you said, it was very good. The early penalty did help. Bruno Fernandes, able to score as you.
Yep.
But generally, I thought United looked a lot better. I thought their press was good. I thought they were very impressive in that sense. Even I thought some of the players on the ball looked a lot better. The passing was better. We were building up the back a lot better. Again, if you compare it to last season, just like last season was an absolute nightmare. So comparing any type of good United game to the season we had last year or last season was it's just going to be better. Literally any type of performance. But
just one thing I want to add as well.
Yeah.
One problem with United I've noticed as well, like the midfield sometimes like disappears. Like as soon as we lose the ball within like the 2/3 up of the pitch, for example, Ugarte and Bruno are just far apart from each other. And obviously when we're pressing and trying to get the ball, if West Ham make a way around those players, then there's a huge space in midfield, and that's one of the reasons why Bowen even scored. I mean, it was a heavy mistake, but obviously you can't let players like that attack your backline. There needs to be midfield protecting the back four. So obviously that needs to be something that Amram needs to work on with the players.
100%, I agree. I thought, the midfield opened up. I think what in that situation we did wrong is that we overpressed, if that makes sense. I think Ugarte and Mainu both pressed kind of the same area, and that opened up space, and the midfield was open for Souček to play Bowen through. I know Heaven might should have done better, but Bowen's a fantastic player and he wasn't going to miss from there. But generally,
he was just a kid as well. He's only 18,
of course,
19 years old.
So of course, yeah.
That comes with it as well. So you got to expect those types.
100% against a player like Jared Bowen. I mean, Ali's watched the week in, week out. Jared Bowen, fantastic player.
Amazing.
So
best player
he was always going to have a hard time against him. Yeah, I mean, that fantastic player. But what I will say is that we have coming games, and literally in less just over an hour, the West Ham game is going to start. Maybe even the lineups might come out while we're on the call, so maybe we can even discuss the lineups when they come out. But Al, what do you think you're looking forward to for this game? Obviously, you're playing against your former manager, David Moyes. Yeah. So that should be a little bit interesting. I know it's just a friendly, but again, it could be a little bit, heated.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's going to be exciting, interesting as well, against David Moyes, former manager. Have full respect for that man and for everything he's done for the club. But, it was time for him to go. But going back to the game, of course, we just want to see improvements on, the play. See Graham Potter's, style of play really be implemented a bit more. Hopefully he's implemented that better after the last game through trainings that he's had before this game. I hope to see the youngsters start the game, hopefully, in terms of Fearon and Potts. There were clear improvements on the midfield from the first half of the Man United West Ham game. So it'd be exciting if they start. But of course, like you say, the lineups haven't just come out yet. Maybe we'll mention them when they do come out. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, exciting. Just excited, really.
Perfect, 100%. It is exciting times. Obviously, pre-season is just a great time for youngsters to sort of make a name for themselves and give themselves a chance to sort of embed themselves into the first team before potentially being shipped out on loan or making a name and sort of joining the squad for the rest of the season. Hassan, we kind of have a similar situation in our squad, technically tomorrow, but later. What do you think is going to happen in that game?
Well, there is a lot to expect from the team. Obviously now we've played against West Ham and also Leeds, so there'll be some sort of sharpness in the team now they've played those 2 games. But Bournemouth have very good style play, very good progressive football, good possession-based football. But they've lost key players such as Dean Huijsen in defence, so it'll be interesting to see how they will fare with us in that game. But I think, the main important thing is for the team to be confident, try to attack the team and not be too passive and passing it back and forth too much. I think we saw in the West Ham game that, especially on the left-hand side, I didn't see much from the right-hand side. Maybe it's Ahmad coming from an injury. He's not, back to that sharpness that he was at the start of the season. So hopefully, we'll see a bit more attacking going on that side of the pitch. But yeah, no, I feel like if we continue to attack as we did in West Ham game, there is some promise, and hopefully we'll see a good match. But I think Bournemouth are also a very good team. But yeah, as United, we have to obviously win every game. But we'll have to see how the boys do.
100%. United always make games hard for themselves, even if it's against any team, friendly, non-friendly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's just something we've learned with United. I think Brian and Buemo not actually being able to play this game because Ruben Amorim says he needs to build fitness and build a connection to the squad is kind of a miss, because we want to see him play and see how he can play alongside Cunha, and with the squad. Apparently he will play against Everton. But like you said, we're really missing that right-hand side. But I think the second we'll have more of a threat on that side, and we can sort of attack down both sides, because we can have Ahmad on one side, Dorgu and Cunha on the other. Can have Bruno Fernandes, Mainu and Ugarte in the middle. And then we can potentially talk about a new striker in Benjamin Sesko. Now, David Ornstein has actually come out, just done a report, literally about 40 minutes ago, saying that RB Leipzig's asking price for Benjamin Sesko is 75 million euros guaranteed, which is about 65 million pounds, plus add-ons and a percentage of any future sale. The fee has been it's been communicated to the suitors of the 22-year-old striker, which includes Man United and Newcastle. They are pursuing it, but they haven't agreed anything with Leipzig or the Slovenian forward Sesko himself. So what do you guys think Sesko can bring to Manchester United? As we were talking about how the potential front, it would be front seven, wouldn't it? Because of the four midfielders and the three attackers. How do you think that would work with Benjamin Sesko at striker?
It'll be interesting to see. Especially coming from the Bundesliga. We've had many players come from the Bundesliga to the Prem and haven't transitioned, well. Literally, a person in his position from the same club that came to the Prem and didn't transition well to the Prem is Werner. Of course, different kind of strikers. One's a tall, more like I don't know how to say it, like really, but like direct striker, I guess.
Dominant, I would say.
Dominant striker. Whereas one's a more direct striker.
Mm.
But of course, you can't really predict anything. You just have to wait and see how they are. Of course, it's a lot of money, so it's a big risk for United. Whether he'll suit United. We're just going to have to wait and see. If Amorim is interested in the player, then, I guess, like, maybe it's who he thinks is going to be right for his system, then I'm sure he'll do well. But, yeah, it's a lot of money. So whether United can afford it is, I'm not too sure. With all having to sell players, they haven't really sold many players this transfer window. I know there's been rumors of players like Anthony selling, but just it'd be an interesting signing to see, though, for sure.
So Hassan, there has also been sort of an add-on to what we were just talking about in terms of the Benjamin Sesko deal. RB Leipzig have been offered the chance to include a player in the Sesko deal, and they consider Rasmus Højlund as a dream target for their striker position. And this is coming from Fabrizio Romano, so we know that it's very well regarded in that sense. So do you think that Rasmus Højlund can sort of make a big impact on that deal, let's say, in terms of value, and maybe bring it down by, let's say, 30, 40 million, just to sort of make it a bit easier on us? And how do you think Sesko, also, how do you think Højlund will Leipzig?
I think the issue is, right, Sesko, don't get me wrong, he's a very good player, very talented and stuff, decent stats from last season. However, I think he's got kind of the same issue as Højlund, as in, like, he's not that experienced. Like, Højlund, as we know, he had a very rough season last season. but he's a very talented player. He can run at defenders. He's very quick, very physical. It's just his confidence isn't on the up right now, and he needs to kind of build that in order to play better. And I think with Sesko, it is a bit of a risk as well because he's also born in the same year as Højlund, so he's still 21, 22, so not too much experience. And I feel like United right now need a very experienced striker, which is why I initially thought, we should go for Watkins or like someone like Gyökeres or Victor Osimhen. Obviously, the other two players I've mentioned have already made their way to different clubs, but I feel like United right now are missing that striker, and Højlund could possibly learn something from those strikers and improve as a player. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Amorim wants to do. I feel like Højlund can have a future at Manchester United. I think he only has one season, which is this season, to prove to himself and to Amorim that he can be a part of the squad. However, if Amorim thinks that Sesko would be a better player for him, then by all means, include him in the swap deal. But I feel like Højlund can do something for United, but it's just a matter of can he gain his confidence back as he did in his first season, because he had a decent first season, for a 20-year-old. I think he had I'm not entirely sure, like in the teens, I'm pretty sure in terms of goals. He was top scorer at some point in Champions League along with Haaland in the group stages. So
yeah,
I feel like there is a play in there, and some of the goals he scored were very nice as well, very good finishing. And I think as well in the Prem, he was one of the most clinical footballers in terms of scoring with the little chances that he got. Because as you know, in United, we don't really create enough chances and service to the striker. This has been a problem for many years now. So I feel like it's not just on Højlund. I feel like the team in general needs to up their game a little bit. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Amorim wants to do with Sesko, and I think he'll be a good fit. However, I don't think including Rasmus Højlund is going to be a perfect solution. I feel like making a different way around the 70 million price tag they're asking for will be better, because we don't really have much strikers. Zirkzee is not really a out-and-out number 9. He's, as he says, he's 9.5. He can play the number 10 role, but I don't think he's an actual number 9. So I feel like we kind of need Højlund as a backup striker. But we do have Obi as well. Obi is very good talent. But he still needs to polish up. He's still 18 years old, so I feel like relying on an 18-year-old to be our main attacker up front is a bit too much. But it'll be interesting to see how Amorim thinks Sesko would improve the team. But yeah, what are your thoughts on it? What do you think?
Honestly, I think as we were saying about the players around him, I think the type of player that Benjamin Sesko is, he's not really a player that brings others into play. From what I've seen, I might be wrong. Again, I've seen very limited game time of Sesko, but I know he's got a hell of a shot. I've seen him score some absolute beautiful power shots, as in he scored that volley for Slovenia and all that, and he's very good in the air. And there was a stat saying that Mbeumo attempted the most crosses last season in the Premier League. I think we have players in our team that like to attempt crosses. Dorgu attempted a lot of crosses last season. We never really had a striker that could sort of get at the end of those chances. I think Benjamin Sesko is maybe not the clinical finisher that maybe could have wanted in Gyökeres. Obviously, he's gone to Arsenal now. But I think he can grow with this team. I think he's got Cunha and Mbeumo who can also score goals, take a bit of pressure off him, and it doesn't have to be the only outlet of goals in the team. And if, let's say, we kept Højlund, we can have, obviously, 2 strikers fighting out themselves. I think that could be very important. Including him in the deal could bring down the price a lot, but I think generally what we should do is have another striker to fight along him. We don't want too much pressure on this. Don't get me wrong, he's a very confident young man, played for Leipzig for a couple of years now and had good stats, but I think he can do very well for Manchester. But I think the team around him need to create chances, which has been an issue for the last couple. I think that he can do well. Whether he will do better than, let's say, a Watkins, if we had brought him in, maybe Watkins would have been a kind of like a stopgap type deal where he would have done well the first season, but he is getting on a little bit. I think Sesko, like I said, will team. We have a lot of young players: Lenny Yoro, Kobe Mainu, Patrick Dorg, Aiden Heaven. Even when you look at Matthias Delict, he's quite young. You look at Cunha and Buemo, they're not massively old. They're entering their prime. They're 26 years of age. I think, and Ahmad, of course. Bruno's a little bit older, but I'm saying there's a potential for this team to grow together, and they play together. The more they fit in, the more they understand Ruben Amorim's system. Hopefully, we can learn more and do better, and in terms of get these goals and work better as a team, press hard. You know what I mean? Get in the process. You know what I mean? Just get in amongst. But generally, I think he can be a good signing. But it's about how quickly we can get the deal over the line, because we do kind of need him for the first game of the season.
Yep.
But I think for Man United and Sesko, that's pretty much what we can talk about. I think now it's time to move on to West Ham. And we've had kind of a bit of a situation with Lucas Paqueta, haven't we?
Yes.
He's had a bit of a bad situation. But what I will say, there is a story here from a very, very, very famous kind of West Ham fan. He's a season ticket, and he's kind of a journalist too. I'm just seeing, right? And he said that West Ham by him, he would be happy to repay their loan staying at the football club if the club's 60 million valuation is not met. And Jean-Claire Todibo is also keen to stay at West Ham. So I'm guessing for you, this is it's a very good thing to see players of the quality of Lucas Paqueta and Todibo wanting to stay at West Ham, and potentially, building a team around those two. And I know you've been linked to Fabio Vieira as well, and other. What do you think about these guys wanting to stay, and what do you think you can build with these guys?
Yeah, so like you talk about with Lucas Paqueta, and it's been a difficult situation over the last year. He's had allegations against him about the betting, the fixing the matches, and those yellow cards. Of course, they showed us the footage of those yellow cards that they are accusing him of getting to match fix the games to let others profit. So that was difficult, and now that I'm hearing that the charges are being dropped, it's just great news. Of course, he's one of our best players. He's an exciting player to watch, always enjoyable to watch. Does clutch up a lot for us at times, and obviously helped us win our first trophy in decades by getting the assist for that goal. And what else can I say? It's great to hear that these players are going to stay loyal to us. Of course, in the past we've had to deal with other players doing quite the opposite. In terms of Payet, great players who were unloyal and are considered snakes amongst the fan base. But yeah, no. So that's great news about those two saying that they are keen to stay at West Ham. And as well,
is it alright if I just cut you off?
Yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but the lineups we were talking about have actually just come.
Yeah,
so I'm going to read them out for you guys.
I did.
You've already seen them?
Yes.
Do you want to read them out and then sort of?
Yes, I can read them out for you. So
yeah. In the meantime, Hassan, what do you think as well about West Ham and sort of?
I feel like West Ham have something to build on. Obviously, having some European success can build the confidence up. But obviously, they lost a very big player in Declan Rice. That is a big blow to them. But however, they do have some very good talent in there. One player I particularly like that came from United to West Ham, Wan-Bissaka. He was one of my favorite players, to be fair. I do miss him a lot, to be fair. On the right hand side, I prefer him over Adalo. Defensively, he's immaculate. Even for West Ham, he's shown to be quite good at attacking. At United, he was kind of slated for his attacking abilities, but I feel like he's a solid player. But yeah, I think West Ham collectively as a team, they have potential to be definitely within top 8. They just need to, build more confidence as they play more games in the season. Graham Potter, obviously, embedding his ideas into the squad. I feel like that's very key into West Ham, having success in the season. And obviously, players like Todibo and Paqueta wanting to stay shows that the club is competitive and they want to win trophies, and that is something that you can only applaud for. But yeah, we'll see how the season goes and how they play very very shortly.
Well, Al, if you want to go ahead and read your lineups and tell us what you think.
Yeah, so looking at the lineup, it's exciting to see. So we got some new starters. So we got Kyle Walker-Peters making his debut. We have a left back in the name of Kalen Casey, who's also playing. Again, not sure if he's making his debut, if he's played before. I do believe this is going to be his debut. Potts again playing in the midfield, starting, which is exciting. In terms of the centre backs, we have Kilman and Mavropanos. To be fair, a lot of the fan base have criticised Mavropanos since he's come. There's been some good moments.
Including you?
Yes.
Including you.
He's a bit of a half and half player, not consistent. I think that's his biggest problem. It's just his consistency. And when he's awful, he's like bottom of the barrel awful. But when he's good, he's like, you know what I mean? So it's just one of them. In the midfield, we've got Andy Irving, Potts, like I mentioned before, and Ward-Prowse. Of course, Ward-Prowse can provide great set pieces, from the corners, from free kicks. Andy Irving, it's funny, pre-season, this man, plays amazingly, but never seems to get the minutes in season. But he is an exciting player, to be honest. And then up front, Malik Diouf, I think that's how you say his name. I might have said that wrong. Let me just double check. Diouf. So I believe his first name might be that. And then Lucas Paqueta, and as well, again, I believe this man might be making his debut, and Callum Marshall, another youngster coming from the academy. Again, very exciting. Can't wait to see. Something that I applaud Graham Potter for is playing so many youngsters. Considering that we have such a great academy, it's nice to now finally see them play instead of just being loaned out all the time. And I didn't mention Diouf before. Of course, he was the one of the first signings we made this summer. In the first game against United, he seemed exciting, very direct in his approach against defenders. So yeah, can't wait to see more of him. But that's what I'd say about the lineup.
Perfect. Yeah, I think, like you said, there's a lot of youngsters playing, which is obviously very, very good. You want them to grow with the main players, as obviously like Paqueta and Ward-Prowse, and whether you like him or not, Mavropanos is. So yeah, I think it's not a bad team. Obviously, like you said, Kyle Walker-Peters making his debut. From what I remember, he's been at Southampton for a while, and he's quite a good player. So good signing for you.
Yeah, it's all right.
Then that's all right. Yeah.
I was just going to say, of course, that connection with Kyle Walker-Peters and Ward-Prowse. Of course, they both played at Southampton. We're great friends. I've been seeing the videos. They're excited to play with each other again. So I thought I'd just mention that. So I'm not sure if I mentioned Fodram in goals, but, haven't really seen much of him. But, yeah, hopefully you can have a good impression on Graham Potter.
I think, I think West Ham have played, if I compare it to the Everton 11, the Everton stand, you know what I mean? But what I will say is that their most dangerous player is Iliman Ndiaye, and he is a fantastic footballer. He is. He does kind of very underrated, and I think if you want to compare him to any footballer in Premier League history, whether it's as crazy to say as, many claims, I think he reminds me of Eden Hazard. I think he's just like, he's got the similar build. He's very good with the ball at his feet. He can run at the. I think he's only. I thought he was much younger. He's 25 years of age. Still got time to grow. He's still pretty young, to be fair. Coming into his prime, if he makes a bigger move, club, maybe he can go forward and strive. Because,
sure.
Yeah, I could see him maybe this year doing well at Everton and he's a player that's very interesting. But that should be a very interesting game. So we'll hope. I think maybe if we do another episode after the games, we can also discuss how you guys played against Everton, and maybe if players that. Obviously, we've got the Bournemouth game later. Those lineups will be out later. Obviously, this will be after the episode. I think a very good talking point right now is to talk about the striker market. Now, we were obviously talking about Benjamin Sesko and how he's sort of linked with Man United. We obviously can't forget Newcastle because they're still in the. And the most interesting thing about Newcastle is that Newcastle obviously have Alexander Isak, who they do want to sell to Liverpool, has actually agreed a contract to play goal till 2031. He is going to try and push for the move as early as possible. But I think if Sesko, this is a personal opinion now, I think if Sesko was not to go to Newcastle, I think that Newcastle will either raise the price of Isak, or they will just completely say, no, we can't sell you. We haven't found a replacement. I hope you respect our wishes. And I think Isak, if he's clever, he should stay for one more year. Because again, it's Champions League. It's not going to really hurt his. Maybe he won't win a Premier League or Champions League. I think if you stay one more year at Newcastle, it will make you develop even more. But yeah, what do you guys think about the striker?
Ali, do you want to go first?
Yeah, as you know, like a lot of clubs, including West Ham as well, are looking for striker. It's what's the word? It's a scarce market. There's not many great number 9s out there at the moment.
You've also agreed personal terms with Callum Wilson.
Of course, that's good experience. Of course, something that we do lack, though, is a younger striker. But, of course, we are going to be playing Callum Marshall in the game today. So maybe he can make a good impression on Graham Potter. And maybe he could end up being, learning from players like Callum Wilson and Full Krug and, to improve his game. But like I said again, the market's quite scarce. And there's a lot of clubs that are, looking for number 9s, including United, including, of course, Arsenal were, and now they've got Gyökeres. They got that deal over the line, which I think will just only just push them more to get closer to the league. What else can I say? Really, it's just it's just a high demand, low supply of number 9s out there, and the ones that are available out there are being asked at a high price. So being sold at a high price. So not easy to get a good number 9 at the moment. What do you think, Hassan?
What do you want to say, Carlos, before?
I was just going to give some details about the Gyökeres deal. The Gyökeres deal, obviously. Actually, I was just trying to look for the here we go. If you want to just try and get the extra details, so I finish off and then I'll try and get the details.
Yeah, pretty much what Ali said is accurate. It is a very tough market right now. There's an abundance of number 9s out there. However, it's like you do question some of the moves, like Osimhen to Galatasaray. That is a very interesting one. Obviously, he loves the club and everything. However, I think that as a player of his caliber, he should be striving to be going to a. I wouldn't want to say Galatasaray is a small club. I don't want to offend any people out there who support Galatasaray or are Turkish, right? But obviously, there are bigger clubs out there that would want Osimhen in their team, and I think it's just Osimhen being unrealistic with the wages. Obviously, he's asking for 60 million a year, which United definitely can't afford, and most other clubs can't really afford either. So for him to be asking that much, when he knows the situation of a lot of clubs is difficult right now in terms of finance and stuff related to that, he should be asking a bit lower than usual. And I think Osimhen has been a good fit. I think Amrim said that, or Amrim wanted Osimhen as one of the options up front. However, obviously, he's already agreed to stay at Galatasaray. So, yeah, we'll have to find another solution, I guess. But in general, the market right now is very tough, and even a great striker in the Premier League, Isak, is going to Liverpool now. So there's not much left for Newcastle and United to be getting. And especially if Newcastle lose Isak, they don't really have a good backup option to that. So, yeah, I think Newcastle need to be very careful. United, if we don't get a striker, it will be detrimental to our season, but it won't be ideal. But I feel like for Newcastle, it will be very detrimental to them if they don't get a striker. So I feel like for them, that's their priority right now.
100%. When talking about Victor Gyökeres, I think many people say he's the final piece of Arsenal's puzzle in terms of, needing a striker and having Kai Havertz up top, he's not a bad player, but he's not a striker. Gyökeres is a finisher. Absolutely fantastic. He scored a hat-trick against Man City which when I saw that, my jaw dropped under Ruben Amorim. Just to let you guys know, Ruben Amorim. But Arsenal actually did get him for £55 million. Now that is a bargain when you look at the strikers and how much they're going for. Because I believe Galatasaray actually got Osman for 65. So 10 million more. He's moving to the Turkish league. Maybe there's a lot of money involved, but still a lot of money. Obviously, Sesko's obviously going to be about 65 million as well. But in terms of when you compare it to the other strikers, I think it's a deal. And they're also looking at Eze to complete that left hand side and just sort of complete the whole team. I think Arsenal are a massive threat for the title this season. Obviously, Liverpool have improved.
Unfortunately, they are.
oh yeah, of course, unfortunately, but the teams that Man United sort of see as rivals, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, these are the guys that are fighting for the title, and we're sort of working our way, trying to go up the league bit by bit. But yeah, it's exciting as a neutral fan to see what these strikers can do. Obviously, Joao Pedro also went to Chelsea and proved in the Club World Cup he's a fantastic sign. And obviously in the finals, chipped Donnarumma, obviously probably the best goalkeeper in the world. Yeah, it's just a very exciting season. Top clubs have bought well, and it's just going to be a very exciting Premier League season. Probably one of the most anticipated ones.
Can't agree more.
For sure.
And I will also say, this is not just the top of the league, because we've talked about the top of the league and how they're strikers and how they're looking. But Sunderland have actually made some big signings. None more so than Granit Xhaka, who joined them from Bayern Leverkusen. I was about to say RB Leipzig. Bayern Leverkusen, and he's a fantastic player. We know what he did at Arsenal. He won the league with Leverkusen, and only one game in that season. And he was one of the main players in that. Yeah. He's a fantastic player, and I think if Sunderland really are able to get the best out of him, I think they can definitely stay in the Premier League alongside the other players they bought. What do you guys think about Sunderland and maybe even the relegation battle?
To be honest, I do worry myself, of course, after last season, where we finished. So I'm just hoping not to be there again. It's not.
We're not far off, by the way.
Yeah, of course, United weren't far.
They finished above us. I don't know what you're talking about. West Ham finished above us.
We're the ones that finished 15th, bro.
But when you look at the signings you lot have made compared to us, you know what I mean? I feel like we have a bit less hope, and you know what I mean? And with your history...
You never know, to be honest.
You never know. Of course,
you don't know what to expect of this United squad.
Yeah, of course. And you know what I mean? The Premier League's so hard to predict. You always think you might know how it's going to go, and then it just goes the complete opposite way. I mean, look, of course, Sunderland, doing what they think's right by signing these amazing players. We've seen this, I believe, before with clubs like Fulham, who came up and spent quite a lot of money to try and stay up, which didn't work. And, they ended up backfiring for them once they went down back to the Championship without as much money to be able to spend. But look, I hope for them that they stay up. I don't like seeing the promoted teams go back down all the time. It's not fun to see. Again, I do worry that I hope we don't end up being in that position. Of course, like after last season, so we know how it feels. It's not fun, every week you're just disappointed with the results. So hopefully,
tell me about it.
Literally. But I respect that ambition by signing players that they have. Granit Xhaka being a great signing. That experience, especially, of course, he won the league with Bayern Leverkusen. He was great for Arsenal towards the end of that stint. And, I just think he'll be a great asset for them defensively and in that midfield. So, can't wait to see him back, to be fair, in the Premier League with his feisty personality,
Yep.
What do you think, Hassan?
Ali's pretty much summed it up perfectly. But I just want to add, obviously, when you're joining a newly promoted side, having that experience is going to be very essential to make them stay. Obviously, that's the point of newly promoted clubs, they want to stay in the Premier League in the top flight. So I feel like bringing that experience will definitely help. As a player like Granit Xhaka, who did it week in, week out with Arsenal, he knows what it's like to play for these big games and also win the league with Bayer Leverkusen. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he integrates himself in the team and how he can have his mark on the team and improve the squad overall. And hopefully Sunderland, do well. But seeing as United did pretty badly last season, we might have to watch out for them as well. We broke the records for all the wrong reasons, so hopefully this time we break them for the good reasons and not the bad ones. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think about Sunderland's ambition and market?
Honestly, it's very, very impressive. I think a couple seasons ago we saw, even now, Nottingham Forest, they bought loads of players at one point. They bought like 20 plus players when they got promoted, and I was thinking that's absolutely crazy. And not even just like random 20 players, some high profile names. Yeah. And obviously they stayed in the league. Yeah, Alanga, but that was obviously last.
That was the season after,
yeah, they bought a bit after, but they bought loads of players. Not all of them have worked, but in the end, they're playing in Europe. So
they stayed as well that season in the league.
It's worked out for them. Yeah, 100%.
They were like top 3 or 4 like for a very long time as well.
Yeah, exactly. We thought they were even in the title race, but it shows that sometimes you can spend players, but I think that Sunderland, they might get really affected by the AFCON because they have players they bought that represent African teams, which can be a major thing. I haven't actually seen their run in January, but obviously if they lose a lot of games during that point because of they've lost most of their players, it can be very detrimental for their season. Do you know what I mean? If it could derail their season, and hopefully that's not the case, because like we said, we want it to be an exciting of anticipation.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's looking very, very exciting. I just want to add one point.
Yep.
Marcus Rashford, he's joined Barcelona. I know it's not a Premier League signing, but he's joined from a Premier League club. Now, we haven't really got much time left, but what do you guys actually think, and how do you guys think he will do, at least for the loan period, and what do we think?
If I'm being honest, it's a great move for him. Surprised me when Barcelona went in for him, if I'm being honest, especially after, a lot of the issues that have been, circling around him, with his attitude and stuff. But if anyone is going to improve him as a player, it's going to be Hansi Flick. We've seen what he can do with the attackers he had and how he improved them drastically. You've had players like Rafinha who went from, a good player, but to then Ballon d'Or shouts. And of course Yamal as well. You can't forget about him. But it's a great move again for Marcus Rashford, leaving the Prem and, all the pressure that comes with playing for United and, the media and the Prem, how criticizing they can be, I think it's good for him to kind of get out of that and play football somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of how he'll perform, it's hard to tell, really. He does have, he's proven it before in seasons before that he has the talent. It's just whether he can, show it now with Barcelona. To be honest, if he can play how he did a few seasons ago, I'm sure that he'll be great for Barcelona.
Yeah, Hassan. Obviously, we're Man United fans. We've watched him play for many years for the club. We've seen him had good seasons. We've seen him had bad seasons. We've seen him had impressive games where he can just take the game by the scruff of the neck and score a goal from the halfway line. And we've seen him miss absolute sitters. But generally, me personally, what I think of Marcus Rashford, I really wish him all the best. I think he is the same as us. He's a Man United fan. It just went bad. I think he sort of fell out of love. I just think it's a theme with Man United players, not just academy players. I think it's just a general thing with Man United players. It can be. No, you can. You think it is his fault or not his fault?
I don't think it's mainly his fault. I think the club in general just got a toxic environment. You know what I mean? Like the fans obviously are a part of it too, but I feel like it starts from higher up. You know what I mean? The owners, the the ball than everything. But Rashford is, as you said, a United fan just like us. We've watched him grow, since he was like 18, 19, when he first came on and scored his debut, and also scoring those 2 goals against Arsenal. Like, those are moments you can't forget. Like most United fans that I know have love for Rashford. Like, he had great moments with us. He had very good seasons too. Like, at his peak, Rashford is a world class player. Like, he can show that he can, do something magical on the pitch. He just needs the right coach to get the best out of him, and also to be in a good environment where he feels, happy and he's smiling and this and that. But yeah, hopefully, I wish him all the best as well, and hopefully he, brings out the best version of himself again. But yeah, it is a shame, to be honest. But I mean, if Amram thinks that he doesn't fit in the system, or his attitude doesn't align with what he wants to instill in the team, then I guess it's Amram's decision. But I feel like, as Luke Shaw said in a recent interview, that he feels that all the stragglers are gone now. So I feel like maybe that's aimed towards Rashford. So now, as long as Amram thinks the club is improving and the team, mentality-wise, overall is improving, then I feel like whatever the coach decides to do, then that's the most important thing. But yeah, a lot of respect for Rashford, and hopefully he does well.
100%. Guys, I think we can talk for absolutely hours. We can talk about many
Yep.
different topics. We can keep on going, but it is the first episode. We've gone a little bit over, I believe, but it's
Maybe,
been a great
yeah.
first episode. Yeah, it's
Yep.
all right. It's the first episode, you know what I mean? I think hopefully the viewers enjoyed it, the conversation and all that. Guys, viewers, if you think there's anything you give us advice on what we can do, please leave it in the comments. Please leave a like. Please subscribe. But before we actually end the episode,
Yep.
Ali has got a little quiz for you.
I do indeed.
Al, go ahead.
Right, I'm going to give you 5 facts, and you need to guess the player from the 5 facts, okay? So, starting with the first fact, he was named in the PFA Team of the Year for the 2013-14 season, but in the under-21 category. He made his senior debut, this is the second fact, for Manchester United against Wigan Athletic in the 2013 FA Community Shield, but didn't appear in the Premier League until a month later. The third fact, he scored the winning goal for his national team in the group stage of the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Fourth fact, before joining Manchester United, he played for the youth academy of Anderlecht in Belgium. And the fifth fact, and final one, he made his professional debut under David Moyes and quickly became a breakout star at Manchester United in 2013. I think some of you will get that from that last fact. But leave your answers in the comment, and we'll give you the answer in the start of the next episode.
Yep.
So, guys, thank you very much for coming in. Thank you very much for dropping by. We hope to see you in the next episode. We'll see when that will be. It will probably be, it will be after the games. Maybe we'll discuss them, more transfer news. But thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. And we just want to say goodbye and hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Okay, take care. Bye.